Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Olga Katrich. I'm head of Immigration Department of Intermark Global company. Also today, I would like to introduce you my colleagues who will help me with the translation today. It's Asim Umer, head of our immigration office here in Dubai, and Neha Rana, senior immigration consultant, who is also located in our UAE office. Our webinar today will be devoted to investment immigration programs, and we think that this topic is very, very relevant right now in the GCC region. Here we are living now in time of significant global change. For those of us living here in many countries, we see how quickly the world is shifting. While Dubai still remains a safe harbor and a land of incredible opportunities, but the recent political turbulence across the Middle East has made many families and business owners to think more seriously about their future. Now it's very natural to ask yourself, what is my plan B? How do I ensure my family's mobility and my wealth security, no matter what happens next? So today we're talking not just about moving or changing the passports. We're talking about insurance for your life. Investment immigration is about creating a safety net, giving you the right to live, work, and protect your assets in some of the world's most stable economies. On your screen on the right, you can see the chart where you can ask your questions in written. We will answer these questions as soon as we reach the end of our online translation. In the very beginning, let me tell a few words about our company. Intermark Global, it is the international company dealing with real estate investment and immigration consulting. The company was established in 1993, and now we have 8 overseas offices and huge network of partners all over the world. Our own offices are located in the following countries: in UAE, in Dubai, in Thailand, in Phuket, in Indonesia on Bali Island, in Great Britain, in London, in China, in Shanghai, in Turkey, in Istanbul. We still have the office in Russia, in Moscow. And we have a pretty big office in Cyprus, in Limassol. In all our offices, we propose to our clients full range of our services. If you would like to invest in real estate or buy the house for yourself, you can always apply to us and we will help you with your request. In terms of immigration products, we are dealing with all existing investment immigration programs. We cover Europe, Caribbean countries, and of course, US and Canada. So now I would like to pass the microphone to Asim Umer, head of our immigration office in Dubai.
Thank you, Olga. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. So as Olga rightly said, how important it is in today's time, especially to have a backup plan. So because we have seen what has been happening around the world, especially in the Middle East since past few weeks. So it is always better to have a plan B in place for the security of your child's future, to protect your assets and wealth as well. So right now, as we can see, there is a regional instability. So all these immigration programs, be it a residency in Europe or a second passport, it is like having a safety in a neutral and distant country, which are not affected with such scenarios. Then, as we all have been facing the travel restrictions, especially those passport holders who are from the developing countries. So we always face that travel restrictions. We don't have the global mobility. So these programs help us to have a global mobility. Then financial exposure as well. with these programs in place, having such a plan B with us helps us to diversify our assets into a stable currencies in various European markets and elsewhere as well. Then the future of the family, which is very important for each and every one of us. So this is not just to secure our future, but for the future of the generations that will follow us. Now, I will begin my presentation today by talking about the second passport programs, the passports that you can acquire quickly in as less as 2 months and can take maximum 6 to 7 months of time. Now, before we jump onto the countries and the programs they offer, so I would like to discuss why it is so important to have a second citizenship in place. We have seen in COVID, the entire world was under the lockdown, how certain nationalities faced difficulties. Even if we wanted to move to our home countries and be with our families, we could not because our passports were not allowing us to do so. Now, we recently have seen the scenario wherein there were a bit of trouble here and there, and people wanted to move out, but there were certain restrictions that because of which we were not able to. So these citizenship programs help us to move to a safer places which are not affected by such scenarios. They help us to have a plan B. They help us to secure our assets, secure the future of our children. They help us to diversify our businesses in globally, okay? And they give us a financial freedom as well. Now, starting with the countries that offer the second passport, either by investment or donation. So we have countries like Turkey, wherein you can acquire the citizenship by doing an investment of $400,000 into the real estate. Then we have Egypt, wherein you can get the citizenship by doing the investment of $300,000 into the real estate. Then Sao Tome and Principe. This is the recent country that has, a country, an African country that has recently introduced the citizenship program. And the first passport was delivered in a record time of 2.5 months. Then we have Vanuatu, which is a Pacific country. They have their citizenship program, and the donation starts with $130,000, and the investment starts with $165,000. Then Grenada, which is one of the Caribbean countries that are offering their citizenship. Over here again, you can get the passport by either donating $235,000 or else investing into the real estate, which starts with 270,000 US dollars. Then moving on to St. Kitts and Nevis, which is one of the oldest program in citizenship industry. You can have this passport either by donating $250,000 towards the government, or else you can purchase the real estate, which should have a minimum value of 325,000 US dollars. Moving on to Dominica, which is one of the famous programs. So you can get the program again by donating $200,000 or doing an investment of the same amount, which is $200,000. Now, one thing we should know is that Dominica is the only Caribbean country that has the least investment as well as the donation. Then moving on to Antigua and Barbuda, the donation starts with 230,000 US dollars and the investment starts with 300,000 US dollars. Then at last but not the least, St. Lucia, wherein you can get the passport for 240,000 US dollars, or else you can do the investment of 300,000 US dollars. So all these countries are a quick solution to have a quick passport, okay? And they have their own benefits, which we will be talking about. Now, talking about the African country, which, as I said in my previous slide, introduced the citizenship program very recently. So you can acquire this passport by doing a donation of 90,000 US dollars for single individual, or else you can include your family, like up to 3 dependents, so which means family of 4, and the donation amount goes to 95,000 US dollars. Now, this passport is delivered in quickest possible time, which, as I said, the recent one was 2.5 months. So somewhere between 2 to 3 months is the process time. Sorry. And as a, like other Caribbeans, you don't need to travel to these countries to get the passport. The passport is delivered at your doorstep, and the entire processing is done remotely. So irrespective of the place you are in this world, you can still apply and have this passport delivered at your doorstep. Moving on to Vanuatu, which is one of the Pacific countries that offers its citizenship program, very famous program. So this passport you can acquire by two options. First, either you do the donation towards the government. For single individual, as mentioned, 130,000 US dollars is the donation amount. And then as the family size increases, the amount of the donation increases as well. So depending upon the family size, you will have this passport accordingly. Then the other option is investing into the coconut oil fund. So this option, be it single individual or up to family of four, you will have to do 165,000 US dollars of total, out of which 50,000 US dollars will be returned back to you after 5 years. This program, this option is feasible, or I should say is good option for a larger families. Because if you can see on the screen, for up to family of four, under the donation option, the donation amount is 180,000. Then adding the FIU due diligence, which is 5,000, which means 185,000. While as for the same family size, here it is 165,000 US dollars. And the good part about this program is that you get the passport in as less as 2 to 3 months of time, and the entire process is done remotely as well. Very recently, they have launched the biometrics. They have introduced the biometric option. So there are three countries or three locations as of now that are available for biometric. One is in Vanuatu, of course. The another one is in Hong Kong, and the third one is here in Dubai. So the biometric, you can give your biometrics at either of these three locations as per your convenience. Then moving forward, we have Turkey. So Turkish citizenship is again one of the famous programs. You will have to invest 400,000 US dollars into the real estate in Turkey. It used to be before 250, but then they increased it a few years back to 400,000 US dollars. And the process is like the process time averages 6 to 9 months of time. And you can include your wife, you can include your children, and you can also include your parents for this option. And again, the process is done, the passport application is done remotely. And one more thing that I would like to mention is that Turkey has the treaty like Grenada in Caribbean. They also have the treaty with the United States for E2 visa, which is a business visa. So if you are a citizen of Turkey or Grenada, you are eligible to apply for the E2 visa for US. Then talking about Egypt, Egypt also has a citizenship program. You will have to invest $300,000 into the real estate over there, and you get the passport in 6 to 9 months of time. You can include your spouse, and you can also include your children up to 21 years of age. Then moving forward to the Caribbeans, starting with Grenada. Grenada is one of, or I should say, is the only Caribbean country that offers its citizenship program that has a E2 treaty with the United States. This is one of the strongest passports in the Caribbean. You will have visa-free access to almost around 140 plus countries, which includes all of the Schengen zone of the European Union as well as the UK. And as I mentioned, they have a E2 treaty with the United States of America. So, but there is a condition. So you will have to be living inside Grenada for 3 years, then only you will be eligible to apply for the E2 visa. Now, in this application, you can include your spouse, you can include your children up to 30 years of age, and you can also include your parents or the parents of your spouse. They should be having the age of minimum 50 and above. And you can also include your siblings, but they should not be married and should be less than 18 years of age. Now, as I mentioned previously, there are two options to get this passport. First is you do the donation of $235,000 towards the government. This is for single individual, or you can include 3 other family members in this amount. And also you have the other option, which is doing the investment into real estate, minimum 270,000 US dollars. The process time is 6 to 8 months approximately. And again, you get your passport at your doorstep. You don't need to go over there, and there is no residency requirement either in order to renew the passport. Then moving on to the other Caribbean country, which is St. Kitts and Nevis. This is one of the strongest, or I should say the strongest available option among the Caribbeans. The program was launched in the year 1984, which means 42 years the program has been there. And there are two options to get this passport. First, you do a donation of minimum 250,000 US dollars, or else you do the investment of 325,000 US dollars into the real estate. After 7 years, for St. Kitts and Nevis, after 7 years, you can sell off your investment, your shares. Okay. So if you try to sell it off before 7 years, that will affect your citizenship. And St. Kitts and Nevis has very recently introduced the residency requirement. The first passport is issued for 5 years, and within these 5 years, you will have to live there for 30 days, which is 1 month. If you have fulfilled this criteria, the next passport will be renewed for 10 years. And again, you can include your children up to 25 years. The only condition is they should not be married and they should be financially dependent on you. And you can also include your parents that should have an age minimum 55 years. Also, in St. Kitts and Nevis, if you're doing the real estate investment, but you don't want to wait for 7 years to sell off your investment, there is another option of 700,000 US dollars. Under that option, you can sell it off after 5 years. You don't need to wait for 7 years. Then moving on to Dominica. Dominica was the first country among the available 5 countries that has visa-free access to mainland China. And this was very famous, and this still is very famous because of their processing time. Just takes 4 to 6 months to get the passport. And again, the passport is, it is a remote process. You don't need to go anywhere to do the application processing. And the passport is delivered at your doorstep, irrespective of the place you are living in the world. Now, again, there are two options, that is donation or investment. Both the option starts with 200,000 US dollars. Now, if you're applying alone as a single individual, the donation amount will be 200,000. However, if you want to include your family, if you want to include 3 dependents, then the amount will go to 250,000 US dollars. And then depending upon the family size, the amount will increase. Under this program, you can include again your spouse, you can include your children up to 30 years of age, and you can include the parents or the parents of your spouse. The minimum age criteria is 65 years for them. And as I said, this was the first country to have the visa-free access to mainland China. Under this option, you have visa-free access to around 137 countries, which includes all of the Schengen zone, but does not include UK. Okay, so that is something very important that we all should be aware of. Now moving to Antigua and Barbuda. So about this country, so basically just like Saint Kitts and Nevis, these are two islands which form a country together. This is again one of the strong passports among the available options in the Caribbeans, and there are various options to get this passport. First is the donation, which starts with 230,000 US dollars, or else you can do the real estate investment, which is minimum 300,000 US dollars, or else you can do the donation, which is basically investment into the university funds. Okay, this is again a donation only, which starts with 260,000 US dollars. This is, I mean, this option is good for larger families. Otherwise, if you go for the regular donation for a larger family, that will cost you more. So this is a better option. And in Antigua and Barbuda, the best part is you can include your grandchildren as well. Okay. So I had a similar case wherein there was a big family and the children were married, and the primary applicant had grandchildren as well. So we suggested them this option, and they really liked it, and we already got the passports for them as well. So you can include your children up to 30 years, and as I said, they can be married. The only condition is that they should be 30 or below and should be financially dependent on you. And you can include your spouse, of course, and grandchildren as well, as I mentioned earlier. And you can include the spouse's parents or your own parents as well. The process time is somewhere around 5 to 6 months for this Antigua and Barbuda, and the stay requirement was previously 5 days, but very recently they have increased the stay requirement to 90 days. So for the initial 5 years, you will have to live inside Antigua and Barbuda for 90 days, which is the 3 months of time approximately. And like generally people ask us, like, these are islands, so what will we do over there? Why? I mean, if we go there for 90 days, so I mean, what should we do? So these 90 days, you should know, is not you have to do in one shot. You can go each year and spend some time and come back. So these are accumulative number of days. And all of these Caribbean countries, the ones that I mentioned, the beaches of these countries come in the top 20 beaches of the world. So people from United States, people from Canada usually go over there for vacations. So tourism is one of the big industries for these countries. Then moving on to St. Lucia. Again, St. Lucia is a country that is a Caribbean country that offers its citizenship. Now, this is the only Caribbean country that offers you a third option of investing into the government bonds, okay, which we will be talking about. So, firstly, about this program, you can include your spouse, you can include your children, and you can include your parents or the parents of your spouse. And also, you can include your siblings if the age is below 18 years of age. Now, coming back to the investment part. So first of all, the first option is donation, which starts with 240,000 US dollars. Or else you can do the investment into real estate, which is 300,000 US dollars. Or else you can purchase the government bonds, which is considered as one of the safest investments throughout the world. And you have to invest 300,000 into the government bonds. After 5 years, you can get your money back from these government bonds. So same applies to the investment option. If in real estate, after 5 years, you can sell off your investment. Now, one of the common questions that clients usually ask us is, when we say real estate investment, can we purchase real estate like an apartment or a studio or a piece of land over there, right? So just like we do here in Dubai or elsewhere in the world, like in Europe, Greece and all. But majority of the times, like 98% of the times, you will be purchasing the shares of a hotel, a 4-star and 5-star properties. You get those shares. Now, the second question comes is there any ROI on that? Because when we do an investment, we expect an ROI, right? So depending upon the project you choose, and also upon the availability of the project. Some projects do offer some ROI, somewhere around 2%, 3%, while as the others do not offer any ROI. So it depends upon the project you choose. It also depends upon the availability of the projects. And again, some projects are offline, but majority of the projects, they are already completed and they are running right now. So that was all from my side for the citizenship programs. Now I'll pass it on to Neha, my colleague, who will be discussing about the residency in Europe.
And I would also like to indicate that if you didn't manage to join from the very beginning, or you don't have the possibility to listen to us till the end of our translation, we will share the recording of this translation with you and the presentation as well. Also, on your screen, on your right hand, you have the chart where you can ask your questions and we will answer them with pleasure. Yes, Neha, please continue.
Sure, perfect. Thank you, Olga, and thank you, Asim, for the great overview. And a very warm good afternoon to all the listeners. My name is Neha Rana, and for the next few minutes, maybe we'll discuss about the different residence permit available in entire Schengen zone countries, like all the EU residencies. But before I jump into the options which are available, I would definitely like to first tell what is a resident permit in EU countries. So basically, if I have to put it across simply, it is a legal authorization for you and your family to go and live in any of the European countries we choose and often do business in the countries. Although the rules and regulations may differ in each country we would like to apply for, but these all countries will give you a gateway to European lifestyle and to avail social benefits. Unlike citizenship options, we don't get direct passports or naturalization into these countries, but we definitely get residency where you can easily relocate with your family, including your spouse, children, as well as your parents for you and your spouse. And in all these programs, once we get a residency, we can claim the benefits or we can have the social benefits like free education to your children up to a certain age and the healthcare system is great in all these countries and you can get benefited out of these. So as I said earlier, there are many options available to get this residence permit, but largely what is like commonly known as is a golden visa program, which is specially designed for investors who are willing to, say, invest into the real estate of the country or who are willing to invest in the funds of the country, which are governed, supervised by the government. So there are 4 major countries which are offering golden visas right now, which is Greece, Portugal, Cyprus, and Hungary. All the countries have various options, like to begin with, in Greece, we can get the golden visa by investing into the real estate of the country, and the amount starts from 250,000 euros. And we get a 5 years of residency for you and your entire family. Citizenship, obviously possible in all these programs, but after a certain number of years having the residency in possession. So for example, in Greece, you can apply for citizenship after 7 years. Moving to Portugal, Portugal investment starts from 500,000 euros. We invest that into the funds. They no longer have any real estate option like to acquire an apartment or property on your name, but we have to invest into the funds of the country. Likewise, Cyprus also offers residency through investment into the real estate. Again, we can buy a property, commercial or residential, and can get the citizenship later on after a certain number of years. I will explain every country in detail, but right now just giving you the overview. And Hungary is also a very nice option these days, which is offering, again, golden visa straight for 10 years if you invest in the funds of the country for starting with 250,000 euros and citizenship also after 10 years. The only thing to keep in mind here is that all these EU residencies, they do not have any stay requirements as long as you're just willing to maintain your residency in the country. But eventually, if we are looking to have a passport, then of course there'll be certain conditions which we have to meet individually, and that will vary from country to country. So if I may give you a little bit brief about Greece resident permit. So this option is, as I said earlier, is through property investment. So starting with 250,000 euros, you can get an apartment, a nice property on your name, which will be definitely, because that's a law by the government, that it will be a converted property from commercial to a residential building. If you don't want such option, we can always increase our budget a little bit higher to 400,000 euros or maybe even 800,000 euros, where we get new built, a nice villa or a townhouse, depending upon the location you would prefer, seaside, beach view. There are plenty of options available to choose from. And the best part is, for example, if you're not willing to relocate immediately with your family, you can always put this property on long-term lease. We can help you in doing that, and you can have a rental income coming to you, which starts from 3% and goes up to 5%, 6%, or even more, depending upon the project you will choose. So your family gets a resident permit, a gateway to enter EU countries, Schengen zone, have a lifestyle there. If you want to live there, your children can study there, and eventually can apply for citizenship after 7 years of legally residing in the country for a period of 6 months each year. That will be the major condition to get citizenship. But if you just want to keep the property, enjoy the perks of rental income, and have a resident permit, this is one of the best options, which gives you a property as well and makes you a property holder. So this is about Greece. And moving to the next very important option is Portugal residence permit. They have the golden visa option, or the resident permit we call it, and it starts from an investment of 500,000 euros. This investment goes into the Portuguese funds, and keeping the assets are important for at least 5 years. You get an ROI for keeping this money for 5 years, which is 5 to 6% again. And you will get this money back once we become the citizen of the country, or if you would like to withdraw that. But as long as we need the residency, we would have to keep the assets into the country. Again, family can be included, children who are dependent financially on you, studying, not married, can also be included along with your parents. In this, the good thing is you don't have to live 6 months every year to become eligible for citizenship. Just 14 days in 2 years is more than sufficient for you to maintain your residency and become eligible for citizenship in the near future. There are talks going on that the citizenship period will soon change to 10 years. For now, it is 5 years only that you can get the citizenship, but we don't know. This bill or the decision can be made at any time, and we may soon have the criteria of citizenship for 10 years only, not 5 years anymore, but for now, it stands at the same. Moving to another option, what we have is Cyprus. This program is also more or less for those who are looking to invest into the real estate, say not in the funds. So you get, again, a property on your name, you invest in the property, you get the resident permit. Again, there is no need to physically present in the country if you're not, looking for immediate relocation plans. You can always keep that option with you for your plan B, or maybe for your family to move in case you yourself is not immediately planning for it. Just an entry in every 2 years is required to maintain your residency. And later on, you can apply for citizenship if you have successfully remained a resident of the country for a minimum of 5 years that altogether. So again, for property investment, Greece and Cyprus is the best option. But if we are looking to invest in the other countries, then Portugal, or the next option what we have is Hungary. This is the most common program because we don't have to renew our residency every 5 years or 2 years, which happens in, say, Greece or Portugal. If you invest in the government supervised funds or approved funds of the Hungary country, you get straight 10 years of residency, and the amount also starts from 250,000 euros. You keep the money for 10 years, you become the citizen of the country after 10 years if you want, and by passing the Hungary language exam. That will be important because whenever it comes to citizenship, two things the entire Schengen zone countries will look at: that you're living in the country and you speak the language of the country. That's when you and your family can claim the naturalization or the citizenship of the country. Otherwise, investment amount more or less is same in order to get the golden visas, and it starts from 250,000 euros. All the four countries has its own perks and benefits for you and your family. It just depends on your goals and your plans, whether you would like to buy an apartment in that amount or invest in the government approved funds. Rest remains the same, more or less. No as such entry requirements to maintain the residency. As long as we keep the funds active in the country, our residency remains active for you and your family. So these countries are offering golden visas, which is way much easier to get and gives you additional perks of having, say, doing a business in the country or acquiring a business in the country, or maybe getting ROIs from the investments you have made. But for those of our listeners or clients who don't want to invest largely into the countries, there are other alternative options to claim resident permit, which is, we call it as, or which is designed for financially independent persons, which means it is a plan B for you and your family to go reside in countries like Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Luxembourg, Portugal, Austria. But to apply in such programs, you have to prove that you're earning good and a constant passive income outside the country you choose to apply. So when I say passive income, we mean we can show a rental income to the authorities we are going to apply. If we have invested in shares or dividends, we are having any particular business income coming, or for any remote workers who can perform their jobs remotely while living in one of these countries. This program is designed for those individuals who have a fixed wealth outside these countries and they just want to go live in such countries, have a European lifestyle, give a freedom to their family, to the kids, and with strictly no intentions to go and work there. Because this permit will not allow you to do any business or work. That's the purpose of this program, that we have to show our wealth outside of these countries that you're getting. And if you can see the numbers mentioned, that is the per year income you have to prove that you're getting, and through various sources which I mentioned are acceptable for you and your family. Of course, the numbers differ based on the number of family members, which we can discuss if you're particularly looking for such options, that how much you have to show. Under these options, generally, you get a resident permit from 1 to 4 years, again, depending upon the country you may choose to apply. For example, in Italy, France, initially you get 1 year of residency, but in Spain, you may get residency up to 2 to 4 years. So these are limited residencies issued, and we have to renew it every year, unlike Golden Visa, which is straight away issued for 5 years or up to 10 years. In this, we prove the authorities every year or every 2 years that we still have that wealth coming to us. We are still living in the country. And of course, definitely this thing will lead eventually to citizenship after, say, 7 years or 10 years, or even 5 years, depending upon, again, the country we choose, but with a condition of you living in the country for a minimum of 6 months every year and speaking the language. So no matter which country you choose, Intermark Global can help you with your application process. We have done numerous applications, have seen a lot of success, and if you ask me, my personal suggestion, France is one of our best-selling program out of all these options because of the flexibilities and the success rate. I can strongly vouch that, of course, France is definitely one of the ideal option to choose from under all these programs. Otherwise, if you have interest in other countries, the process remains the same, and we have the expert team to handle any kind of application in any sort of countries you choose. So this is what we have for European countries, for those who don't want to invest largely into the country, or maybe for those who are actually looking for real estate investments or fund investments, and to acquire straight golden visas for 5 to 10 years. If not Europe, we are also dealing with country United Kingdom, and we have certain programs which we help our clients in to get or to obtain resident permits in UK. The 3 major programs which you can see, first is Innovator Founder Visa, which, as the name itself says, we have to launch and run a business in the country, and the idea of the business should be something unique or very innovative in nature, which meets the current or existing market needs or requirements. If you have an idea, we are happy to hear that. We are happy to help you with that. If not, we have the experts with us who can understand your profile and help you build one on your own and can lead to this immigration process for you. If you feel that investing or starting a new business or maybe an innovative idea which has never been done before is a bit challenging, then we have an alternative option, which is skilled worker visa, in which you can acquire or you can join an existing business, or maybe you can start a new business with a local partner. So what happens is we have to register the company there. You need to have a local, either a Britisher or anyone who is settled there. They become on the papers, they become the owner, or not really the owner, but they become the director of the company, and then they sponsor you under this program. But the business is all 100% yours. But you would need a sponsor from the local to apply under this visa. So this is for business people, but we also have an alternative option for Global Talent Visa. That's the name of the program, and it is designed for individuals who are doing exceptionally great in their field of work, which can be science and research, art and culture, medicine, digital technologies. It could be anything, but we have to see the profile, which that you have to prove that you have some great work, you've been awarded by some awards, or you have got global recognition. This program is designed for those. You don't need to have any invitation. Your application is just submitted to the authorities. You get an invite and you just apply for the visa. So you can leave the paperwork and difficulties on Intermark Global. Just let us know what's your choice, which country you prefer, what program you're thinking, what's your budget, what's your timeline. And I am sure that Intermark Global can help you through with any option you may choose from. For now, I'll just stop there, as I think I have covered most of the primary residency options available in EU and UK. And I would further pass on the opportunity of speaking to my colleague, Mr. Asim, who will take all of you through the Canada and US options. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll pass this on to Asim. Over to you, Asim. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha, and hello, everyone. Again, I'm here to discuss about the 2 countries that are very famous, which is Canada and the US. So starting with the United States, as we all know, they have a program of residency, the green card, which is called the EB-5 program. And as we all know that it has been, the investment amount has been increased to 800,000 from 500,000. So talking about this program, so you need to invest a minimum of 800,000 US dollars into the government approved commercial residential real estate. Okay. And the second eligibility criteria is that this business should create at least 10 new workplaces, 10 new jobs it should create. The business that you will be investing your 800,000 in. And talking about the ROI on this investment, well, it depends upon the project you choose. Some projects do offer ROI, while as others do not. Now, one important thing is that we need to show and prove the legal origin of the invested funds. So the 800,000 that we will be investing, we need to show the legal origin of these funds, like the source of funds, the proof of funds, we need to prove them. So under this EB5 option, so initially you will be given a conditional green card, okay, and after 2 years, there is no such conditional green cards. We receive the regular green cards, provided we will meet the eligibility conditions, like the investment should still be active. It is not that I have received my conditional green card and now I will withdraw my funds. No, in order to have the unconditional green card, the regular green card after 2 years, I need to make sure that at that time my investment is still active and the 10 job creations have also taken place. Now, all this, I mean, the 10 job creation is taken care by the regional center that will be doing the investment, that I'll be putting the investment in. Okay, and you will be eligible to apply for citizenship after 5 years. Now, the initial 2 years wherein we had the conditional green card, so those 2 years plus the next 3 years wherein we don't have the conditional green card but a regular one. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, and we are eligible to apply for the citizenship. Again, the most important factor over here is that whenever we apply for citizenship, we need to make sure that we have the investment active and we have not withdrawn the investment. Okay, so we need to make sure that till the time we don't have the US citizenship, the US passport, our investment is still active. After that, we can withdraw the investment, no issues in that. The process time is anywhere between 10 to 12 months approximately. So, and again, you can include your spouse, you can include your children, dependent children up to 21 years of age. So this is about a very small, very brief about the EB5 program that is available for the people who are interested to have the green card of the United States. Now, moving on to Canada. So as we all know, Canada has always been famous for their permanent resident programs. And as you guys will be aware that very recently, they have removed the option of the startups, which was very famous. Now, right now, as of now, there is the program has been paused. However, there are still options available to have the permanent residency through the other programs that are available that have been offered by the Canadian government. So starting with the first, which is the provincial nomination. Now, various provincial nomination programs are available there. The famous one are in Alberta and New Brunswick. Now, what we need to understand is that, say for example, in Alberta rural community, okay, so we need to invest into a business. We need to start a business in Alberta, but in the rural areas. By rural areas, I mean that the total population of this area should not be more than 100,000. It should be less than 100,000 people living in that area, in that rural area. And also we should know that it is not that I can set up any kind of business over there. Like there are certain restricted businesses. The proper list is available on the government website, like car washing, anything related to crypto, and so on. So all these business ideas will not qualify me for this option if I want to have. The second condition is that I cannot set up the business into a metropolitan cities like Edmond or Calgary. Again, moving to the previous one, it has to be in the rural areas wherein the population is less than 100,000. Now, apart from the investment, so there are two things that we need to know. So one part is that we need to invest, which is minimum of 100,000 Canadian dollars, which roughly is around 75,000 US dollars. Apart from this, we also need to show that we have assets worth somewhere around 300,000 Canadian dollars, which is somewhere around 220,000 US dollars, around that figure, but should be minimum 300,000 Canadian dollars. So this is the second condition that we need to make sure is in place apart from the investment that we will be doing. And as I mentioned earlier, the options are available in other provinces, like New Brunswick is also there. So each province have their own requirements. Like just now I talked about the Alberta. So likewise, New Brunswick and other provinces have their own requirements. Now, as you may be knowing that Canada has the language requirement, but not in order to apply for this, but whenever you apply for the permanent resident visa, at that point you need to score CLB 5, which is band 5 in your IELTS exam. Okay. Now, when we go for this provincial nomination option, so initially we are given a work permit, which is a temporary residency, which is initially issued for 2 years. However, after spending 1 year over there, we can apply for the permanent resident visa. And another condition is that after every 6 months, we need to submit our business report to the concerned authorities over there. Okay, so that is also a very important thing that we should be aware of. And again, we can include our spouse, and we can include our dependent children below 22 years of age. And as I said, PR after 1 year we can apply. And or else, if you don't want to have the PR so soon, we can continue living on this work permit. And your spouse will also have an open work permit, which means she or he can take up any job inside Canada. And for your children, depending upon the age, they can either work or they can continue their studies over there. Now, moving on to the second option, which is the ICT, intra-company transfer. So for this, the eligibility is that, so first of all, we need to set up a branch of an existing business in Canada, right? But this business should already be an MNC. The company should be an MNC, multinational company, and should have at least 2 branches at different countries. Say, for example, I have a business, I have an office in India, and I have another office for the same company. I have an office in Dubai, in UAE. So for the same business, I can set up a company, I can set up an office in Canada. So that is what I mean, that it should have an existing offices, at least 2 offices. And both these branches should be functional. It should not be like I have a virtual business over here, I have a virtual office over here. Like, for example, I have an actual business in India, actual office in India, and then in UAE, I set up a virtual business. No, at both the location, I should have the actual office, the actual business should be there. Okay, and another thing is that there is no minimum requirement set by the government, like how much I need to invest. But still, we at Intermark advise that we should have a budget of at least $200,000 that should cover all the expenses. 200,000 Canadian dollars I'm talking about. And that will cover all the expenses to set up the office and do the legal work as well. Now, again, under this option, you don't get a PR directly. You first get a temporary residency, which is initially given for 1 or 2 years. And after spending 7 to 8 months on this visa, after that, you can apply for the PR. But one thing that we need to prove is that we are actively involved in that business. It cannot be like I go there and then I join something else, or I don't do anything, just have the office for the sake of it. No, I should be actively involved in the business. And under this option, again, the IELTS requirement is CLB 5. So that is all from my side for Canada and US. In case you would like to have a detailed discussion or a detailed consultation for any of the programs that we have discussed, we are always available in our office. Over to you, Olga.
Yeah, so thank you very much for so detailed explanations of all the programs that we propose to our clients. And dear clients, thank you very much for your attention. So you will receive the recording of this online translation and the presentation as well. And we hope to see you in our office in Dubai or to have the online meeting with you. Thank you very much. Be safe and have an excellent day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.